Welcome back to Outrage Science Bites. I'm David Beckmeyer, and this is day 11 of our 30-day challenge as we continue our deep dive into the complex world of bridging divides. So far, we've explored the basics of bridging, how to move to action, and how to deal with disinformation. But a key challenge remains, especially when bringing together groups with very different amounts of social, political, or economic power. When you're trying to build what some call long bridges, that is, bridges that span vast differences, you can't ignore the fact that the two sides might not be meeting on equal footing. That takes us to today's question. How do you account for differential power dynamics in dialogue along the long bridges? Answering that is Kira Hamman with Urban-Rural Action. As someone who facilitates real-world dialogue between diverse communities, Kira has unique insight into how to create a genuinely equitable space when power differences are an inescapable reality. Here's Kira.
I think that's an excellent question, and I don't know the answer to it. It's hard, and I think you can't always do it, and you can't always know if you're going to be able to do it or not. I will say this is something that, because we're not talking about coalition at Urban Rural Action, we're not doing like organizing, coalition building among different constituencies. Everything we do is very is individual. Like, we bring individual people together. I have colleagues in other organizations who do the coalition building work, and I think they grapple with this a lot more frequently and a lot more intensely than we do. And I think they would say that it's important to keep the goal of building power for whatever it is that you're trying to achieve front and center, and that to the extent that building those long bridges will increase your ability to achieve the things you want to achieve, then then you need to maybe take those risks. And also that you have to know when to walk away if it's excessively unequal, and or the unequal power is negatively affecting the work. Yeah, but again, that's not really what we...
Well, I would think the main context where maybe there's some overlap there is in that part of deciding what to do, like when you're coming up with what project to work on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and so that's a heavily facilitated design process that where everyone's voice should be heard, and I think is. And then there's a participatory design process where the group aligns on what to do in a way that gives everyone's opinions the same weight, at least officially. And you're right. Like, if somebody has an outsized power source in the community, that could impact those conversations. And I think the way the conversation is, this is one of the reasons that facilitation is so important, right? Like, if you just get a group of people together, even if they have really great intentions, and you say, okay, go do something, I think it's very likely they won't be able to do it. It's just, you have to have really skilled management of the conversations and the relationships, and also a neutral third party who can negotiate kind of like the tensions and help with conflict management and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm not going to say it doesn't come up, because it does. And I think being aware of it as it comes up and handling it, not sweeping it aside, but dealing with it front and center is critical. And then also setting up a structure, a process that sort of naturally minimizes the amount of times it's going to come up, because of the way people are interacting with each other and the way decisions are being made, can also be really helpful. And the last thing I'll say about that is that a huge focus of what we do is relationship building and trust building among people who have really different perspectives and experiences. And that's huge too, because once you have built trust with someone, a lot of that other stuff gets really kind of falls into the background. I don't want to say it falls away because it never falls away, but it becomes less central.
That's all for today's episode of Outrage Science Bites. Stay curious, and until next time, I'm David Beckmeyer. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy these Science Bites episodes, you may enjoy the long-form Outrage Overload podcast at outrageoverload.net.